I just want to get your thoughts on Odegaard very quickly, because I think similar to Bruno, there's been a lot of discussions regarding, Odegaard. Should he be Arsenal captain? Is he good enough, etc.? Yeah. And I think, again, he kind of has that similar thing to Bruno, where you have some fans who are saying world class, etc., and you've got some fans who are saying, nah, man, he ain't it. And yeah, like, I'm seeing both ends of the spectrum. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Odegaard?
He's definitely in a rough place right now, man. Because again with Ødegaard, he's so interesting. I feel like when he first came in, I think his first season when he was on loan, like, was decent. Like, he was, I'm saying, some very good performances, some performances he was average. And I feel like he's 2 seasons after that is when I think he was hitting ridiculous highs. Like, I always say, man, I feel like last year especially, Ødegaard was playing like a player that he deserved to win a league. That's not like when I think about like how all of our players were performing in the running, I feel like Ødegaard was ridiculous. Like, the game that he was single-handedly just pulling out the bag, and that's like getting us the win or getting us the points. I guess, again, similar like a Bruno. Like, he was actually doing that for us as well in terms of key goals. And I feel like this year, where I think he's really falling off, man, like, again, I feel like he's kind of like personal impact on games. I feel like it's really fallen off a cliff. I feel like, again, like what he used to have in terms of his shooting outside the box, his clinicalness, even like maybe he has like the really nice assist that, like, oh, that's crazy, but he doesn't have that at the frequency. That's also because, to be fair, it's always it's an argument I've had with one of my friends a lot, because he's always said that to him, Ødegaard is more of an 8 and not a 10. And I used to always argue where it's like I hear it. I think he could be a very good 8, but I also think you're dealing with discredit as a 10. But I feel like this year has probably been the year where he's been proven the most right in that conversation, where it's like if you're going to be around the opposition's box, then especially in our team where we have Marino and Rice next to you, now all of the creativity and goal scoring like opportunities now falls on your kind of shoulders. And I feel like he doesn't have that to like the efficiency that you really need to have as like a world-class 10 as well. But then if you think of him as a total footballer, in terms of building up play, like how intelligent he is, like him having the ability to unlock those key passes, he has that too, which is now where I see the maybe if he was more of an 8 maybe, and then you had like when I think of like an elite 10 now, I'm thinking like a Wirtz, like a player in that position that's just going to get their numbers as well on top of being like a really well-rounded good footballer. And I feel like this year has been where Ødegaard has really kind of lacked that cutting edge. Like, I didn't think the drop-off between him and Saka was as high as it was. Because I think we spoke about early in the season where it's like, when I've seen Saka without Ødegaard and I've seen Ødegaard without Saka, and definitely it's looking like Ødegaard without Saka is not the same at all.
Bro,
like, he needs
Saka's
that.
Won that argument.
He has.
I'm not gonna lie. Who's the more important player between Ødegaard and Saka? Saka's won it.
He's won it. But like, yes, all of that said, yes, that was just the initial kind of like my overall thoughts on Ødegaard. And yeah, he's not been great recently. So I think, again, it's really easy to criticize him. I think he deserves the criticism because he just hasn't been good. But again, it's where I also think people get carried away. Because like I said to you, I also feel like with a footballer, you also look at what they've done in the total time they've been at your club. And I feel like Ødegaard is definitely not a player that I can say these total time at Arsenal, these last, like, let's say couple of months now, I'm now going to like maybe say like he's not as good as I think he is as a footballer, because I still think he's a very good footballer. I think there's definitely things in his game he needs to definitely start cutting out, like the flicks and the fake shots and all that stuff is all cute, but sometimes, brother, don't fake shot, shoot. That's my issue with him right now. It's like he's doing too much of this flary, nice, tappy, but it's like, no, we need effectiveness. And I feel like because our team is so like ineffective, it's like him doing these things, it pisses people off even more. And I feel like that's also like what's like triggering people even more when they watch him.
Do you think he hides at times as well? Do you think he hides? Because I know that's a criticism that's been like given by a lot of Arsenal fans, where they say, you know what, sometimes like he hides.
Yeah, like, again, I feel like that's probably more of a recency bias thing, man. Because I've seen games where like, Arsenal have looked like we're not going to get anything from it, and it's Ødegaard picking up the ball, dropping deep. That's why I'm playing the ball forward, doing what he needs to do to make sure that something happens. So I've seen him do that enough times to say that I don't think overall he hides. But I think he's in a really rough patch right now. The team aren't great. He's not been great. So I think the people who maybe even from the beginning weren't really cause I feel like this happens a lot in football, where it's like people don't like a player, but then he performs at a level where you have to just like sit on your hands. But in a moment now that there's a chink in the armor, he's not as good as he has been, where you have to sit on your hands. It's now this guy's rubbish. This is what I've been. And I feel like Ødegaard, I've seen it with some fans too, where with that initial loan spell, where maybe they weren't infused with him or they didn't really want him. He performed at a level where you can't say anything anymore. And then the moment he now drops a certain level, it's now, this is why I don't think he's a very good footballer. So I think it's that balance. I think he's in a rough patch right now, but I overall still think he's a very good footballer. I think I need to see this go on longer before I just don't rate him the way I rate him, kind of thing. Like I think I don't have to have a recency kind of because he's not been good in the last couple of months now to now ignore everything I've thought up to that point. But I think I can criticize and say he hasn't been good recently at all, and he deserves criticism right now. But I think people who are trying to make it like a bigger overall him as a footballer, I think is a bit disingenuous in my opinion. It's like my take on Ødegaard. I still think, I think what his problem too is that because he's clearly not the captain that's going to Eric Thomas or like not the motivational. This is what you need to. He has to be the guy who performs. You kind of look to his performances as a captain. So I feel like when he's now not playing well, I think that's when him as a captain also gets questioned even more. Because it's like you're already not really the guy who's the most vocal or shouty or telling people what to do. So if your performances also aren't really at a top tier level, then it's very easy now to just say, you're not a good captain.
I see a lot of people because they get onto him sometimes because he loves to do the arms thing, the guy with the crowd. He loves to do the get the crowd.
Well, again, bro, it's that whole thing with the ick. It's like when someone gives you the ick, then it's like every little thing they do now that pisses you off. Because, bro, when we were smacking teams, I don't care what Ødegaard was doing. I said, please continue, but we're losing games. And Marine knows your striker, and then like that's gonna be very frustrating.
It's like stop trying to, bruv. We've been supporting you, bruv. Perform. Like trying to tell us, make distract from the issue about make more days, bruv. You perform.
I hear it.
But I hear you.
That's fine. That's my overall take. I think right now, deserves criticism. He hasn't been great recently, but I think Ødegaard's still a really, really good footballer, man.